I think
I'm
it's
good.
personal preference.
Okay, I did to the computer. All right, you guys, welcome to our team call. This is Sunday. What is this? July 28th. And we have Christian
Mm-hmm.
Stallings with us. And just really excited. I know a lot of us follow her online. I have so much fun following her. I love resharing a lot of your stuff. I know you have a really cool journey with Juice Plus and the work that you do as an RN and with pregnancy and just helping families like just do well with their body and with their health. But specifically, I noticed fairly recently that Christian had um, hit QNMD. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I would love to have you on one of our team calls. And so that's kind of like where this started. And I just figured we could have her come on, share a little bit of her story. And I just think that we learn so much from hearing other people's stories. So um, Christian, tell us a little bit about you. And yeah, tell us a little bit about you outside of
Perfect.
Juice
Well,
Plus.
thank you. I love this. Thanks for even asking me. I feel so honored. And like I'm no one just crazy special. I feel like we're all in the same boat, but this is what I love so much about our Juice Plus community is I feel like even just as a culture, sidelines cheer and love to love on each other. And I think that that is so rare, especially in the network marketing field. So anyways, excited to be here. So yeah, I am Christian. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, so on the East Coast on the beach. And I've been here my whole life. And my husband is Jordan. I have four boys, 10, 7, 3.5, and 15 months. And I've been a nurse for 13 years. I am a lactation consultant, and I've been a pregnancy health coach for, gosh, 2 years now. And yeah, my Juice Plus journey started 10 years ago. I have struggled with autoimmune my entire life, eczema, asthma, and allergies. And if it was out there to treat it, I've done it. Steroid creams, allergy shots, inhalers. I was your chronically sick kid. So, I mean, chronic strep throat, multiple rounds of antibiotics, tonsils and adenoids taken out at the age of 5 or 6. It was kindergarten. And literally just life revolved around disease is the best way I know how to describe it. All the way from like 3, I have an anaphylactic allergy to tree nuts as well, but all the way into adulthood. And into adulthood, some things like got better here and there. I didn't necessarily struggle with eczema and asthma year round. It was really from like October to April in those winter months. And I had just kind of chalked it up to like, this is as good as it's going to get. I'd seen the same doctors for 20 plus years of my life, gone to nursing school, didn't learn a dang thing about the link between nutrition and disease. And I really, I don't know. It's like interesting now what I know. I didn't ever question or like think to look any further. I guess because in my mind it was like, well, if there was something else other than what I've already done, someone would have taught it, right? And so, anyways, I then got pregnant, was in postpartum with my first son. He was born in October, so I was going into my worst months. And my eczema and asthma being pregnant, and then postpartum, and then breastfeeding, and then also having autoimmune on top of all that. The eczema on my hands and my feet were like the worst they had ever been. And just to keep this short, it was so bad though, you guys. I had one moment I'll never forget. I picked up Luke, who was like 2 months old at the time. I had already had a dairy allergy, so I was already having to cut out breast milk. And I just had this moment of like, oh my gosh, my child is about to go down the same road I am. We're already allergic to dairy at 2 months old. And I couldn't even pick him up without getting blood on his onesies because my hands were cracking and bleeding so bad. And I think because I was a nursing mom, I was more conscientious of what I was putting on or in my body. Like steroid creams were no longer an option because I wasn't going to put that on and then hold my baby, you know? And so that was the first, like, just catalyst of like, okay, I got to figure out how to heal this from the inside out. And everything I researched came back to plants, like flooding your body with fruits and vegetables. And most places recommended doing that by juicing. And that was like never going to happen. I was a first time mom, 2 months old, in the pits of sickness. And I knew juicing was never something I was going to be able to do and do consistently. And that's when one of my dearest friends actually shared Juice Plus with me. I'm so thankful for her courage. And it immediately made sense because it was simple, it was easy. And then once I heard it was backed by research, it was a literal no brainer because I just thought this is like juicing done for me and really had no expectations. I just knew I needed plants. I knew that Juice Plus was the tool to do that. And I was just going to take this without any expectations of what it was going to do, because I knew it was going to do something better than what I was already doing. And within a few weeks, I had more energy, didn't need the afternoon nap anymore. Started craving celery and carrots like it was my job. Craving more water 1 year in. And we had also gone dairy free. So I think really removing all that inflammatory for me personally was also a huge catalyst of how significant my journey has been. But within a year, my eczema and asthma symptoms went away. So those medications all went away. And 3 years in, 30 allergens I've had my entire life are gone. So I've been hospitalized 5 different times for almond exposure. And I now drink almond milk every single day. And so it's just these moments of like, I still get goosebumps when I say that, you guys, like, because if you know anyone who's ever had an anaphylactic allergy, it is the scariest moment of your life to know that you've eaten something that like, and most embarrassing if you're out in public and it happens. But the fact that like I get to not have my life necessarily revolve around that as much changed everything. And then by the grace of God, and I'm just so thankful for what I've learned and what our community has taught us, I have 4 children now who, because of what I know and because of the intentionality I have within my home, up to this point, none of them are showing any expression of my autoimmune gene. And that was my biggest fear as a mom. Like I could still cry thinking about that, of like, my mom just didn't know what she didn't know. And my allergist certainly didn't know, and he wasn't going to help in that. And so, do you want me to just go into my business story, Brittany, really
I mean,
quick? Or you
yeah,
want
you
me to pause
can.
there if anyone has any questions?
I just think I think that's so powerful what
Mm-hmm.
happens. I mean, because not everybody has that same story where it's like you basically exhausted everything. So when Juice Plus was introduced to you, you were like, yes, give it to me. And some people
Yes.
aren't at that exhausted point, and so they're more hesitant to it. Um, Either way, I think what's so cool, like when people get Juice Plus in their body, is like not only do you get that in your body, but you hopefully start to receive the education, which then helps you make other healthier choices. Because you said like it wasn't only Juice Plus, it was cutting out other things that you started to learn. I just think it's so powerful, and then the way that we're able to impact our kids. So I love that.
Yeah, it was that easy button. Juice Plus was the easy button that just became the catalyst to, over time, feeling like I had extra capacity or even more confidence to implement other healthier lifestyle choices. So, it's that idea of micro habits. Juice Plus was the
Mm-hmm.
first micro habit. And
Yeah.
then that led to like, I'm actually craving more healthy foods. So now I'm going to replace this sugar with a better option, or eat more salads, or really smoothies became literally the next micro habit of my family. So every single day, my children know between lunch and dinner, there's going to be a smoothie in there somewhere. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then that was just building blocks that came from there. So
I love it. I love that. Okay, so I mean, I can assume that because it was like so powerful in your life, that made you want to get started with the business. Like, what did that look like for you? Why did you get started with the business?
yeah, so I was a customer for a year before I joined the business. I loved Juice Plus immediately. I mean, I kind of just poured into, I was already looking for to learn and get really passionate about education in the world of nutrition, not Juice Plus related, just as a customer and as I was starting to learn about the power of nutrition, because I exhausted everything else. I just got really passionate about learning that. And then once I started learning more about Juice Plus through my partner, she did, through my girlfriend who shared it with me, did a great job of educating me. That became like, I was sharing with everyone, but I was sending them all to her. I was like, I don't really know. My friend Jessica can help me get started. She's like, Christian, quit sending me all these people. And she would drop little hints here and there, like, you're just doing what I'm doing. You're just not getting paid for it. You're just sharing your story. You're educating people. You should consider doing this. And anyways, after a year, we actually went on a trip together. And at that point, um, I had been on Juice Plus for a year. I was really wanting to make sure that Luke was my oldest was going to be on it. We were on the shakes as well. And then I really wanted my husband on it. And so it came at that point where he was like, I know how good this is done for how much this is done for our family and for your health, but like, how much are we spending on Juice Plus every month? And I said, well, we'll either cancel the cable bill or figure out a way to pay for it, because we're not spending money on sick care anymore. And anyways, my friend Jessica ended up saying, like, you've been doing what I'm doing for a year and you could cover your Juice Plus this way. And so I just thought, okay, well, might as well. I'm already doing it. having nothing, never looking for a business, never looking to like leave my nursing career because I was very happy as a nurse. That's what I've wanted to do my whole life. But it was really just to cover my Juice Plus because I wanted to never have to compromise in tough times. I never wanted to compromise our nutritional foundation, but then also just honor our family's, financial priorities as well. So that was like a no-brainer for me at that point. You want me to keep going? I can tell you a little bit more, but
Sorry, I was muted there.
it's okay.
Okay, so when did things start to shift for you? Because obviously you're a QNMD now. So it wasn't, there was a point where you moved past like, I just want to cover my products to wait, hold on. I'm going to do a little bit more. Like,
Yeah.
did that
So
happen naturally for
yeah.
you at first or what?
Yeah, so June was 9 years. I've been with the company 9 years. And at first I used to, when people would say, like, how long have you been with the company? Like, where are you at in the marketing plan? I'd be like, well, I've been it for 5 years and I'm halfway through, or, like even being at Q and being like, I'm in for 9 years used to make me feel like less than because of the time. But I think for me, like hitting Q, one of the things I just continue thinking about is like, I'm so proud of myself for sticking with something for 9 years because it's never really been about a title and it's never been financially driven for me. It's always been mission driven. And so when I look back at even like some of the naysayers in the beginning, like I know I have people who, when I first started and questioned everything and I had a lot of resistance, have been kind of waiting for me to stop doing Juice Plus. And so now I'm like, nope, like I'm still 9 years in and like, look where we're going. But I think that, so when I started my business in June, and again, I had already just naturally fallen in love with teaching people about the power of plants because I had learned so much that, once you understand that and you really understand that, like, kind of taking your health back doesn't have to be as complicated as I feel like the world makes it seem. It's hard to keep that to yourself because you start to hear all of these people have problems around you. And then it's like Wendy Campbell says, like, I started feeling convicted not sharing versus scared to share. And so I reached Partner Plus, hit QSC, and got a qualified business in my first 3 months. And then my uplines practically were willing to do anything to get me to that fall conference, which was in Nashville that year of 2015. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to go to a conference. I was going to have to leave Luke for the first time. I was going to be flying by myself, which I did not do. Just the prompting of the Lord and just going scared and obedient. I was going to be meeting my friend Jessica, who shared Juice Plus with me in Nashville. And long story short, I mean, that changed everything. It was like there, I heard Ashley Hudson shared her NND speech. And when you hear things like Ashley, who's like a dear friend of mine now, you can't help it. And it was literally, I was just sitting in the audience there. And I just remember God telling me so vividly, this plan B will be your plan A one day. And so, long story short, I had no idea what that meant. Like I said, I've never had a timeline goal for NMD. I have just always been along for the ride and the mission. And I think that has helped keep it. I feel like for me, I struggled a lot. If I set like a goal and then a time to get there, I almost hit analysis paralysis. So if I can have the goal, because that's your roadmap, you need to put into your GPS where you're going. Like you have to know those things. But I would have that over there, but then also just in my mind, the mission of who I want to impact and how I want to impact is what keeps me going, because the paycheck and the accolades will never fulfill me. And that's why I always tell my team, they're never going to fulfill you. It's the 6-second high. Q was amazing and it was so fun to celebrate that. But then it's like life moves on and not about it anymore. And that's okay. But it's like, because now just you keep moving on. So I think just removing the pressure of yourself to reach it, like our worth doesn't come from where you are. Yeah. Because if you're only even impacting 5 families around and helping 5 other children, or preventing disease in one other kid or for one other person, like their lives matter just as much as if you were a Q and having affected 200 or 300 lives, like each person matters. And so long story short, I definitely had a goal to reach sales coordinator because I wanted to not leave money on the table. I wanted to earn the full commission as possible. And then then I had my second child, and with each child I had, I wanted to be home more so I could feel those priorities shifting. Because as a nurse, I was missing full days of their lives. So it was like leave before they wake up, get home after they go to bed. And I just did not want to do that anymore, the more babies I had. And so I just really started to pray and started to learn about what amazing tool we have in our tool belt with this network marketing business. And just steadily worked my business over those years. And then the Lord just allowed me to come home November 2019, having no idea what 2020 was holding. But because I had worked my business, I had been able to replace my part-time nursing income and been able to say goodbye to the hospital, which I loved. I mean, that was a significant part of my life, but priorities changed. And so then when I got to say, I get to say yes to being home. And then 2020 happened. I was just like, oh my gosh, the power we have in something like this is remarkable. And then long story short, we actually just went through a really tough season where, again, I just really fell in love with our business model, because I've never worked, again, my business to necessarily earn a certain amount of income or I've never felt the financial pressure. But my husband, we've been praying for 12 years for a job that's home, that's not commission only, that gives us Sunday days at church. And we've not had that for 12 years. And this past October, all those answers to prayer were in a job that got him home, got us Sundays. It was a full salary job. And we had that job for 5 months. And then 5 months later, this past February, he was let go within 48 hours and jobless. And we were not prepared for that. And I don't have time to go into all these details soon. And I'll share a story because God has taught me so much in it. But it was another reminder of like, man, literally in this moment, and so many people around me were like, well, are you going to go back to work? Are you going to go back to work to help Jordan with income? And I'm like, I do work. God's like, do you know what I mean? They're all like, are you going back to the hospital? And I'm like, no, I have a business. Like now I'm just going to get more intentional even. And so, man, I could spend hours of just telling you how the Lord has come through in the past 5 months and grown my business to hit Q in the craziest season of our life. He just provides. And it's that daily bread mentality of you just get today's bread and not worry about tomorrow's. And the rest will come from that. So
that's
yeah,
so good.
Crazy stuff.
Christian, that's so good. I don't know anything about your story, so this is like so awesome to hear this. And I personally resonated with it so much because I feel the same way where I'm like, I just love this business. I love this company. I love the people that we work with. And at one point there was like, I want to be at the top. And now it's just like, no, I just want to help people. And like, if that gets me to the top, awesome. That's a cherry on top. So I just love that. One question that I do have is like, so when your husband lost his job and then you're like, okay, that's first of all, that's hilarious that people are like, are you going to go to work? Like, I work. Hello. Have you not been listening to me talk about Juice Plus all the time? Yes. I want to like laugh.
Well, I also homeschool too. We're homeschooling. So then it was just of this moment of telling them, like I'm not sending my kids back to school to go to work. You know what I mean? It's tension of like, man, I need to do a better job of communicating it, like maybe exactly what I do, because people really don't have a concept unless you're kind of in our world.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's a good wake up call too, like for all of us. Cause I have to get that sometimes when people say, oh, that's what you do. I'm like, whoa, I need to share more. It's crazy. So when your husband lost his job and you were like, okay, I need to get more intentional with my business, and you ended up hitting QNMD, what did that shift look like in your business to get more intentional? Like what were you not doing before? What did you start doing to get to where you are now?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say I've primarily grown my business over all of these years just to be focusing on talking to people and using social media and just essentially sharing what my family is doing and the whys behind what we're doing it. And I feel like if you do that often and enough, you start to build trust with people because they get to see where you're struggling or where you're going. And that was like really helpful. I also feel like, social media though, 9 years ago is not what it is today. So I feel like there is a connection there. But to be honest, really the 9 years of my business, I feel like, look at that sweet baby. I feel like the biggest piece for me that has always been missing, that has been the little annoying gnat in my ear, has been like, but like, how do we talk to people? How do we walk through conversations and deal with objections? And then how do we go teach that to a new partner? Because I have never loved our verbiage within our community, what like as a whole taught. It's never resonated with me. It's never sounded like me. So I've kind of felt like on a little island over here of like, this isn't resonating and I need to figure it out. And so eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I'm done being stuck in this. I'm going to figure it out. So actually, I'm sure I know, Brittany, you do. Bob Heilig, follow Bob Heilig. I joined his program in January of this year. And I decided, no, I'm sorry, May. Okay. So not this past May, like not two months ago, last year, May of 2023, he did like a 3-day training, free training on Facebook that I was a part of, to get a little in-depth insight to Love, Serve, Grow. And everything about it resonated with me. I was like, this is what I've been looking for. This aligns with everything I need. It just made so much sense. It was like all my little puzzle pieces that have been scattered for 9 years all got put into one puzzle. And at that time, one of my best childhood friends, who've been friends our entire lives, who I shared Juice Plus with 8 years ago and told me no because her husband was like, we're not doing this. 8 years later, only got started on the omegas because she was having bad psoriasis on her hands. And then she got pregnant and wanted to use it as her prenatal nutrition, which then Samaritan's Ministries covered her whole Juice Plus quad for her entire pregnancy, so much so that she had an insane fourth baby pregnancy experience, so different than her other three, that she literally was like, Christian, I will never be a day without Juice Plus ever in my life. Sean needs me to pay for it. So how do I do that? And so last May, I got to ask her, I said, hey, I've just been through this brand new program. Can you be my guinea pig? And can I walk you through this brand new process? And you just give me feedback on how you feel like it's resonating with you, because she and I are so similar. And so she let me essentially take Bob's training and apply it to her. And we're about to promote her to senior sales coordinator in a year and 3 months. And now it's her. She is very much like, she just loves to talk to people. But the feedback that I got from her and then all the other girls on my team that have really flourished over this last year is that they feel so good and authentic in the way that they talk to people. They feel like they're communicating in a way that honors like their intentions and their heart. And so like that hands down changed everything. And so I joined Love, Serve, Grow, and I just became a master at conversations. That is literally, if I had to choose one thing in the last year that I have embraced myself and learned and then taught my team, it's just be how to talk to people through Bob's process. And so essentially that's what we did. So every Thursday for our nap time calls, the only thing we do is sometimes we get to content, but we're only talking conversation. So everyone brings a conversation or two to the call. We talk through their conversation of if it's a follow-up that they need, if it's someone they want to reach out to, or if it's some conversation they feel stuck in and they don't know how to go from there. I kind of like lead it, but it's amazing to watch the other girls grow in their confidence by just being able to encourage other people and give feedback and walk just through conversations together. So every week on Thursdays, we are talking just through conversations. And then we have a Voxer chat that is very, very busy and active every single day of like, this is this conversation, I'm stuck, help me. Or I want to talk to this person, what do you recommend? And so it's just been so beautiful where I'm at the point now where all these girls over the last year have been in this chat that I'm no longer the only one that is telling them how to respond and talk to people, right? Because now they've heard it so many times, and it's essentially the same process, but now it's amazing to watch them feel confident um in just talking to people and then
Yeah.
providing education from there. That really has been like the most pivotal piece to
Yeah.
our team.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, just like gaining the confidence, because if we're not having conversations, we're not growing our business. Like, however you choose to converse, whether that's on social media or face to face with people or at events, like, if we're not confident having those conversations, and I know a lot of us listen to Bob Heilig's podcast or maybe have done some of his free trainings. Bob Heilig actually came on one of our larger team calls. I think it was last year, and he spoke for us, which was really awesome. But just like we know, we need to be having transformational conversations, but it's like knowing how to work through that, I think, is so important. So that's really cool that like you don't feel like it was some crazy formula that you went through to like get to QNMD. You're just like, I need to have more conversations and they need to be more intentional.
Well, and I think getting like hyper focused, because I feel like we live
Yeah.
in a distraction culture. Like I love my Hopeful Mom page, and I
Mhm.
love creating, and I love having a life on there. But I realized very quickly, like being a homeschooling mom to four kids, I cannot grow my business and grow my social media. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I've like taken a major step back. And who knows, there'll be a season where I can be on there and want to do that more, but it's like it's not even on my radar anymore. Like I don't even have creativity for that yet or anymore because I'm so having to be prioritized in this area, and that's okay. You know, Bob also talks about you go through 90-day cycles where for 90 days it's going to be like you're hyper focused on, because you have so much team, helping your team just
Yeah.
grow. And then once you get your team good and you've taught them, they know how to do things without you, you're not as, you know, much hand holding in that like getting them started process, then it for the next 90 days you're focused on building new, you're getting new direct customers or you're getting new direct team. And so that was also really helpful. Instead of like, I know that we teach a concept of like doing all of it
Yeah.
all the time. I don't have that time in my day. It's just not going to happen because I have a baby and a 10-year-old and two in between. And then there's house stuff, and everyone eats 3 meals a day, at least 2 or 3 snacks a day. And then we got to fit school in there and get outside, you know, like, so I just
Yeah.
had to really figure out how to really get focused. And if I did nothing else or teach them nothing else, it's go talk to 2 new people, like get into good transformational conversations. And that's all the things. If you can only focus on that, then that's all you're focused on. And
So
the
good.
rest will come, you know? Yeah.
So
I
good.
think simplifying it. I think we get so like overwhelmed, and then we don't know what to do because we feel like we should be doing it all. And if you're like me, if you're not then doing it all, then you feel like you're failing. And then you're like, oh, you're just stuck, you know? And I
Yep.
was like, I'm just done being stuck. And then, you know, when you really are in good conversations and you see the process actively working out, and then you see other people implementing the process and it's actively working out. Not saying that everyone we talk to says yes to Juice Plus, absolutely not, that would be a lie, we all know that. You don't, not everyone says yes. But I think the pivotal thing for my team has been, I feel like our relationship with the people we're talking to was left intact or better because of the way that we talked and because of the way that we communicated and shared. And that's worth its weight in gold, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. I love that. And I love the way that you put that too, because your friend from 8 years who came, like
Yes.
that's what we want. I mean, how many of us joined this business? I joined this business. Courtney, who's down there, is the one who brought me into this business, and that took a year.
Oh,
And
right.
yeah, it took a year of her talking to me. But it really does matter the way that we talk to people. Like, are they going to come around, or are they just going to be like, I never want to talk to that person again? They're so annoying.
Right.
They're just like pestering
Right.
me the whole time, and not being transformational. And I think a lot of us know, we know what that is. And if you have not listened to Bob Hiley, go listen to him. Another good person that I always talk about is Colleen Nichols. I think she does a great job of teaching how to have conversations with people, um, specifically online. So, okay, it's 4:33. I'm sorry, we're 3 minutes past the time, but this was amazing. And I feel like, Christian, you probably have so much more nuggets of goodness that you could share, but that was amazing. Love it. We appreciate you.
Thank y'all for
Does
having me. I feel like I talked so much, but hopefully that was helpful. And I do have, I mean, I could talk for hours because I feel like I've learned so much in the last year,
Yeah.
that I'm really trying to figure out how do I even articulate, because I know that that's what, I feel like we all hear a lot of the same stuff said in different ways.
Yep.
And so what I've learned though, it is the same stuff, but yet it's so much more simple.
Yeah.
So much more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really refreshing. That's really refreshing to hear that you got as far as you did, like doing this in a sustainable way. You've been doing this for 9 years, like the way that you've been able to sustain it. I think that's really important for all of us to hear, and keeping it simple conversations, because we are all over the place. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. And I think the only last thing I would really encourage you guys, that I feel like if I'd hit NMD would be in my NMD speech, is like, I had a moment where I was striving so hard to get from senior sales to Q, like even a year ago. And I was just like, oh, this feels like it is forever away. No one is working their business. My sales coordinators that got me to where I even am now aren't even like plugged in at all. And so it felt like impossible Q, truly. And I just had this moment of like, well, like if you reach NMD, Christian, are you gonna feel like you have an empty row of people just because you like barely got by just getting all the like structure you needed, but not having the community that your heart desires? Or do you want to have the community and the whole front row filled of all of your best friends who are on the same mission as you? Like that's what we all want. And so when you let go of the goal and you just focus on the people and build the community that you want, then the rest just naturally is a byproduct of that, like then you get to like promote people, and that's so much fun, and you're rising, because rising tides rise all boats. You know what I mean? And so when you shift that perspective of let go of all of the 6-second highs, because they're going to come and go, and they're going to leave you unfulfilled every single time. So all you need to do is, I had said, Jesus, you put me here. I believe it because you told me, and I'm going to be like Abraham. Like if you promised it, then I know it will come. So I'm just going to stay faithful in what you've promised. And I'm just going to walk in the steps to do that, knowing that the rest will be fulfilled in your timing and in your providence. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Boom. Like fire. Done. That was amazing. That's a good ending. And baby boy, baby girl, maybe.
Yes, due to woke up. I'm gonna go put him back to sleep.
Oh,
But thank you guys so very much. This was wonderful. I wish I'd gotten to meet all y'all, but I know we'll be chatting again soon, I'm sure.
we will. We're gonna snag you again for another team call, because I feel like there's even more.
I would love that. And I'll bring my team on too.
Yes, I love it. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye guys. Thank you, Brittany.
Bye.